So Walmart has made a big announcement, and it is very shocking to see all of this happening, but honestly, to be expected. Now, Walmart has announced that more stores will be permanently closing, and which location will put workers and employees next in line for unemployment insurance to try and make ends meet and get by. But more importantly, I think we should ask the important questions and try and understand the answers to these questions in order to gain a better understanding of Walmart's reasoning, as well as other retailers likely to follow in the brick and mortar retail giant's footsteps. So the National Retail Federation reported record amounts of shoplifting during the pandemic, as well as Walmart CEO Doug Mcmillon warning that stores closing down in the future is a very realistic possibility if these theft problems persist. And I think we really need to address the big fat elephant in the room, and that is, why don't stores stop shoplifters when everyone else has to pay? So, the National Retail Federation reported that in 2021, total losses from shoplifting hit $94 billion. And that cost can be passed on to other shoppers. But there is also a risk when trying to stop shoplifters too. A representative for a food worker union in Washington said most of the employees they represent are told not to stop shoplifters. And they say the reason is simple. There's a chance of injury to the employee, the thief, and other shoppers. And that can lead to lawsuits. So there's no question that the Walmart Corporation is a very intelligent and smart bunch of people. I mean, you don't get to their level of multi-billion-dollar revenue status worldwide and online without knowing how to operate and run a successful business. And I don't think that they are in any position at the moment to see that come to an end. So instead, they will have to continue to evolve and innovate to maintain their profitability and continuation in the retail space. And I have my own opinion of what that means, what it could potentially and possibly look like, and the pros and cons of it all. And folks, please stick around and I will share that with you later on. So in the meantime, these retail stores have invested in better cameras, anti-theft devices, and sometimes private security. But there is concern that the hands-off approach is leading to an increase in crime overall, despite these changes. And big stores, including Walmart and the Home Depot, are facing historic levels of theft and will begin taking drastic action to protect against rampant shoplifting and organized crime thefts. A major retail theft problem that has ballooned to a $94.5 billion problem, and this is according to the National Retail Federation. Numerous pharmacies, grocery stores, and other retailers have shortened store hours or have been forced to close permanently as locked up merchandise becomes commonplace to prevent shoplifters and smash and grab thieves. I mean, things have gotten so bad that WALGREENS has begun locking up ice cream freezers with chains and locks to try and slow down the shoplifting. These crimes have weighed heavily on retailers across the country, costing businesses around $94.5 billion. And the National Retail Federation reported last month that it has affected businesses large and small, with Target reporting a 50% increase in shoplifting incidents last year, accounting for a whopping $400 million in losses. And a new report released by DealAid found that more than 80% of retailers across the country have seen an increase in violence associated with theft last year. And some 56% of small retail businesses experienced theft in the last year, and 46% of small businesses had to increase prices due to shoplifting losses, according to the report. So beyond installing more private security measures such as cameras, security guards, and team members dedicated to retail loss prevention, some stores are taking more high-tech measures to protect their merchandise. The popular do-it-yourself home repair retail chain Lowe's announced a crackdown on power tool thefts with a new process that would leave the items virtually unusable after they're stolen. A new initiative called Project Unlock will utilize RFID chips and scanners to activate power tools when they are purchased. So if a power tool is stolen and not activated at checkout, it will not turn on. And Lowe's said over the last few years, theft, driven largely by organized groups, has risen for the entire retail industry. And the net result has been locked down store experiences that penalize customers. Also stating that We think there are better ways to curb theft than locking products down. Meanwhile, the Home Depot began a similar initiative last year to protect its power tools, but for many other retailers, locking merchandise down remains the main response to the crime surge, especially in cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and New York. And the CEO of Endime, Joe Budeno, told Forbes last year that his business has boomed by 40% because everyone is locking everything up. It's a siege mentality, he says. Joe Budeno and Endime is a San Diego-based company that sells security devices such as help buttons that customers hit when they need an employee to retrieve something from a locked cabinet. And customers at some pharmacies and big box stores have seen everything from candy to mascara to nasal spray under lock and key in the recent months. And this is sparking frustration, mainly due to the fact that a lot of customers recall times that they always found it difficult to find a staff member to come and unlock the items they needed and wanted to buy, largely due to these stores being severely understaffed. Although the security is intended to help prevent theft, it risks losing customers due to the added wait time for a store clerk to come and unlock a cabinet or product, according to critics of the new business models. There are expectations that stores and retailers will see a 15 to 25% drop in sales over customers refusing to purchase a locked up item and opting to buy online or at a different store instead. While some smaller stores that sell high-end merchandise such as jewelry have moved to operate on an appointment-only basis, a jewelry store in New York was recently targeted by mask and grab thieves who stole up to $2 million in gems in less than 1 minute.
It was about 5 p.m. in the evening, and a young man with a coat on and a hat on and a mask, which seemed something to do with being just cautious for COVID, rang the bell and got buzzed in. And when we buzzed him in, after him followed 2 more males with face coverings, and we still had no idea what was going on until one of them said, "This is how you use a hammer," and he pulled a hammer out of his pocket and started smashing the glass. Really only then did it hit and we understood what was going on. We didn't even think to move a muscle because we were told that if we did, we were going to be shot. We had a client in the shop who was covering her entire head and face. She buried it in her arms and buried her head in her lap. And the entire incident lasted only 38 seconds, but that was the longest 38 seconds I think I've ever had to live.
Here, take a look at this image. I'm going to put it up on the screen for you guys to see. The Brooklyn jewelry store will now operate on an appointment-only basis until it installs more security measures. So like many other Madison Avenue shops on the Upper East Side, this tactic is supposed to help combat daytime shoplifters and reduce theft. Now, on the flip side, small business owners who don't have the funds of a national chain are getting even more creative to protect their inventory. One Houston bar owner said he's been sleeping in his restaurant to protect against burglaries. Cobo's barbecue owner, Raul Jacobo, said, "This is a major issue with our city right now, and if I'm frustrated based on these burglaries, I could just imagine how families feel that they actually lost loved ones because certain criminals are put back on the streets." He said, "It's just a very frustrating situation all around, and we have no choice but to sleep in our establishments just to protect what's ours." And folks, like I said previously in the video, I have my own opinion of what all this could mean and what it could possibly look like for the future of businesses and the income and paycheck producing opportunities for the employees, and the pros and cons of it all in the retail environment. However, the restaurant industry poses a much different and more challenging threat to all of these people, their families, and the ability to earn a livable wage without the added burden of loss, theft, robberies, and burglaries on top of high inflation, increased prices, and the current recession that we are in. So in Philadelphia, a gas station owner hired private security guards who wear Kevlar vests and are armed with AR-15s or shotguns to protect the establishment. And last year, San Francisco police staked out popular retailers like Walgreens, Old Navy, Target, Whole Foods, CVS, and Macy's to catch shoplifters and retail thieves.
Fighting for customers, their expenses are up, especially credit card fees. Their sales are down because people don't have as much money. And we're seeing an uptick in theft. And what we're typically seeing, it's evolved. It used to be somebody would peel out with a couple gallons in their own gas tank. Now what they're looking to do is see how they can take from the underground storage tank that has hundreds of gallons.
Really?
Or maybe rejiggering the pump so multiple people can go through at the same free price.
But how do they know how to do that, Jeff? I mean, at first when I heard this story, I was thinking, well, maybe because prices keep going up, whatever you buy today, you could sell later and make a buck or so. But actually, it's much worse than that. Could you explain what they do?
Well, with the underground storage tanks, first off, I'm not going to give them ideas for anybody that's not doing it, but generally they try to rejigger a truck and try to pull from the underground storage tank, fill up a couple hundred gallons, and then try to find somebody to resell it to.
Wow.
Sometimes it's a fleet, sometimes it's individual customers, but if you're buying gas from a guy, it's probably going to mess up your engine. So it's a bad idea all around. The other solution or way that some criminals are looking is how do they bypass the system and get multiple people to go through. And there's certain things, devices that are being used. In both cases, it has increased this year. And the difference
between
between
cameras on
years,
this, Jeff? Can't you see, or your operators see what's happening out there? Do they watch it? Like, oh, this guy has been hovering for a while, and he's got this big old stick,
Huh?
Yeah, there are certain things that we advise our retailers to look out for.
Wow, this is really unbelievable. But maybe this is all by design to make a push for more Tesla and Rivian sales and get more electric cars on the road. But even then, these EV charging stations will have to manage and mitigate their risks too. So at this time, experts are of the opinion that shoplifting and organized retail theft are likely not about to disappear from stores this year, and a study published by Deal Age shows that organized retail crime increased by 26.5% last year. But the vast majority of retailers, at about 68%, don't have departments dedicated to preventing organized retail crimes, such as smash and grabs. And these intense losses that are hitting the balance sheets create a domino effect for the retailers, the owners and CEOs of these companies, and the employees and workers that still have jobs at the moment. And rising thefts at Walmart could lead to price jumps, and according to Walmart CEO Doug Mcmillon, permanent store closures. Walmart CEO Doug Mcmillon said theft is becoming a bigger issue at stores across the U.S., and if the problem continues, it could lead to store closures and price jumps. Walmart has just announced plans for more Metro Atlanta locations to close down for good after Walmart released a statement and said, after reviewing all factors, it would permanently close its Howell Mill Road store for good, citing the unfortunate variety of economic headwinds. And Atlanta City Councilman Byron Amos said, losing this store will be a huge loss to the community. And Walmart said in a statement that the Howell Mill location does not have the ability to repurpose due to site restrictions. So it appears that the shoppers, as well as the previous workers and employees that relied upon this Walmart location, are going to have to find an alternative resource to fulfill their needs. This more than likely will include traveling and commuting further distances and incurring increased costs at the worst possible time imaginable. Folks, tell your family to prepare. We are witnessing an evolution in business and the way our overall economy will function and operate in the near future. And it will be quite unlike anything we've seen before. Please take action to secure you and your family's economic and financial future to insulate and protect against rising costs, higher inflation, reduced wages, and tougher job markets. The name of the game right now for me and my family is increased diversity, added security, and cash flow. And if you'd like to know more about our plans and where we are seeing success and the direction that we are being driven to experience increased earnings, more savings, and better investing opportunities, please feel free to contact me. Links are below in the description. Thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a like, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.